I am Dr. Pradeep Kumar, Additional Professor, Department of Conservative Dentistry and Endodontics, Yenepoya Dental College. My topic for presentation now is Class 2 cavity preparation for amalgam. The specific learning objective for this topic is to understand what is Class 2 cavity, to know the various steps of how to prepare a Class 2 cavity preparation for amalgam. So let us see what is a Class 2 cavity. A Class 2 cavity or a restoration is one involving mesial or distal surface of a posterior tooth. Now coming to the line angles and point angles. Line angles are the one where the two surfaces meet and point angles are the one where the three surfaces meet. So in a Class 2 cavity, mesio-occlusal or disto-occlusal cavity, there are 11 line angles and 6 point angles, and in MOD, that is mesio-occlusal distal cavity, there are 14 line angles and 8 point angles. Now this picture here shows the various line angles and point angles in a typical Class 2 cavity. Now these line angles and point angles are named based on the surfaces that they are corresponding to. So for example, distal, where the distal and the facial surfaces meet, the line angle formed is called as a distofacial line angle. Where the distal, facial and pulpal surfaces meet, the point angle that is formed is called as distofacio-pulpal line angle. Coming to the various stages and steps of Class 2 cavity preparation, there are two stages: initial tooth preparation stage and final tooth preparation stage. In initial stage, the step 1 is outline form and initial depth, step 2 primary resistance form, step 3 primary retention form, and step 4 convenience form. The final tooth preparation stage has the following steps: step 5 removal of any remaining infected dentin or old restorative material, step 6 pulp protection, step 7 secondary resistance and retention form, step 8 finishing the external walls, and step 9 final procedures cleaning, inspecting and sealing. Coming to the first step, that is outline form and initial depth. Establishing the outline form means placing the preparation margins in positions they will occupy in the final preparation. Preparing an initial depth of 0.2 to 0.8 millimeter pulpal to the dentin enamel junction. There are certain general principles that need to be followed for this step. Those are: extend the preparation to the sound tooth structure, avoid terminating margins on cuspal heights or ridge crests, extend the margins to allow sufficient access for proper manipulative procedures. Restrict the axial wall pulpal depth of proximal preparation to a maximum of 0.2 to 0.8 millimeter into dentin. The gingival margins in the proximal contact area should extend apically to a minimum clearance of 0.5 millimeter between gingival margin of the adjacent tooth. Now let us go to the procedure, how it is prepared. Start at the pit nearest to the involved surface. That is, if you go for a mesial cavity preparation, start from the mesial pit. If you are preparing distal cavity preparation, start from the distal pit. Maintain proper depth during initial entry 1.5 millimeter from the central fissure, which should not be more than 1/4 of intercuspal distance. Dovetail should be prepared in opposite pit area to provide adequate retention. That is, for a mesial cavity, prepare a dovetail in the distal aspect. For a distal cavity, prepare dovetail in the mesial aspect. Now this picture here shows how you start with the cavity preparation. Coming to the proximal box preparation, now this has following components, that is a gingival seat, facial and lingual wall, axial wall and isthmus. Let us see what are the objectives of proximal box preparation. First is to include all the caries, faults or existing restoration, create 90-degree KO surface margin, establish ideally not more than 0.5 millimeter clearance with adjacent facial, lingual and gingival wall. The initial procedure for preparation of proximal box is by giving proximal ditch cut. Now the gingival seat that is formed will have 2/3 of dentin and 1/3 of enamel. The burr should be positioned along the long axis of the tooth, pressure is directed gingivally and lightly towards the involved proximal surface. The burr moved in the facial-lingual direction. Next, coming to a feature called as reverse curve. Now this is developed while making mesiofacial enamel wall perpendicular to the enamel rods. Lingually, reverse curve is often unnecessary because of the large embrasure that is present there. The advantages of having reverse curve is to provide butt joint for the cavity margins, to increase bulk of the restoration, to preserve triangular ridges of adjacent cusps. Coming to the facial and lingual walls, they are flat or diverged depending on the extent of the caries, position of the self-cleansing area. Proximally, the facial and lingual walls positioned in self-cleansing area with the clearance of 0.2 to 0.4 mm from adjacent tooth. The proximal walls should join the outer tooth surface in right angle. Facial and lingual walls should be diverged or flared because of convexity of the tooth surface. Ideally, the proximal flare should be perpendicular to the external tooth surface. Now this picture here shows how the proximal flare should be. The first picture shows the ideal proximal flare. Second picture shows insufficient proximal flare, leaving unsupported enamel rods which will fracture later if you leave it behind. Third picture shows excessive proximal flare. Now this will make the condensation of amalgam difficult, so the margins of the restoration will fracture later if you give excessive flare. This picture shows an ideal cavity, class 2 cavity that is prepared. Coming to the gingival seat, it should be placed 1 to 2 mm below the contact and above the gingiva, that is supragingival. The subgingival gingival seat is given in young patients and patients with high caries index. That is because in young patients the gingival level is higher compared to the elderly patients, and in high caries index patients the caries is deeper. Coming to shape of gingival seat, it should be flat and perpendicular to long axis of the tooth, so the masticatory forces are transmitted to the periodontium. Width of gingival seat in premolars is 0.6 to 0.8 mm ideally, and in molars 0.8 to 1 mm. Next part of proximal box is the axial wall. It is placed in the dentin. It should be parallel to long axis of the tooth. Now this is provided for convenience form to provide additional bulk of amalgam. Retentive grooves can be easily placed if additional retention feature is required in the dentin. Shape of the axial wall, it ideally follows the contour of the external surface of the tooth, that is slightly convex or straight for increased resistance and retention. Never make the axial wall concave because it will become closer to the pulp, leading to injury to the pulp. Length of the axial wall from pulpal floor is 0.4 to 0.6 mm. The next step is primary resistance form. It is the shape and placement of preparation walls that best enable tooth structure and restoration to withstand without fracture masticatory forces delivered principally in the long axis of the tooth. Coming to the features of resistance, in the occlusal surface, you need to provide relatively flat pulpal floors and gingival seat. It should be box shaped to provide definite line angles and point angles, inclusion of weakened tooth structure, preservation of cusps and ridges, reverse curve need to be given, which I mentioned earlier. Preparation wall in relation to marginal ridge should diverge occlusally. Preparation wall in relation to cross ridge should converge occlusally. Rounded internal line angles, adequate thickness of the restorative material by providing sufficient depth of the cavity. Cusp capping if indicated. Isthmus is the junction between the proximal and occlusal surface. The width has to be 1/4 of intercostal distance. Rounded axiopulpal line angles. Round the axial wall in buccolingual direction, that is, it has to be convex. The margin should be butt joint at amalgam tooth interface, that is 90° cavo surface margin. Amalgam tooth interface should not be placed at occluding contact areas. Facial and lingual margins should meet proximal surface at right angle. The gingival cavo surface margin should be beveled. Now this picture here shows how the cavo surface margin in the proximal area should be, that is 90° or butt joint. Third step is the primary retention form. It is that shape or form of the conventional preparation that resists the displacement or removal of the restoration from tipping or lifting forces. Features. There are two features that are given for retention: occlusal convergence and dovetail. Now, occlusal convergence is given for the facial and lingual walls, both in occlusal and proximal portion. Dovetail is given to prevent the tipping movement of the restoration. Next step is the convenience form. It is that shape or form of the preparation that provides for adequate observation, accessibility and ease of preparation in preparing and restoring the tooth. The advantages of giving this form is access to the lesion, access to condensing instrument so that you can restore it properly. It allows for proper finishing of the restoration. This picture here shows a class 2 cavity that is prepared and restored with amalgam. So, coming to the end of the presentation, I would like to conclude by saying that all details of the cavity preparation should be decided according to the nature of the disease, properties of tooth and restorative material to be used. Students should have a clear concept of these fundamentals to ensure success of any restorative procedure. Thank you.